The path wandered up the hill, and on it a man limped wearily, cold, alone, wet from rain, limping lightly, trying to ignore the pain. At the top of the hill, trees, many, fully leaved, blocked the sunlight lazily. The bushes and the grasses gleamed with the wet of rain. Holding himself, he managed to reach the top. The path continued on between tree and bough, through grass and bush. The wetness of all, he strode on purposefully. A clearing appeared, and he pushed through to a gated wall of old stone, old but tall, old but long. The gate was unlocked but rusted tight, uneven, dug into the ground. He pushed it, scraping rusted edge, forcing it wide enough to squeeze through, scraping skin, cutting too. He bled but ignored it. His wet clothes caught and tore. He ignored that as well. His purpose was in view, his destination. The roof, he knew, rising above the spaces between the trees. He continued on to the roof, to the house beneath. He reached the driveway, the overgrown lawn, and his limp quickened, faster, more painful. He ignored the pain. That didn't make it hurt any less. He saw the windows first, some panes cracked, some broken, dirty, stained, with gaps not big enough for a man, but big enough for spiders and big enough for the wind. Bitter thoughts assailed him, but he pushed on. The door was there, that tall door, wide and thick and heavy, unbroken. A deadbolt lock, immovable. He knew it, but ignored that and sped up his pace. He reached the door and tried the knob. It turned, but the door did not open. He pushed. It did not open. It never opened anymore. Not for him. He pounded on the door with clenched fist. He battered it, but it ignored him. He called out to the door, to anyone on the other side, and to the door itself, begging it to open, to allow him entry. No one answered, no one allowed, no one invited. He was locked out and locked away from his life, the life he had had before, that happy life that was no more. The broken window panes, he knew them personally. He had broken them trying to get in, to look in, to see in, but the view he saw was not the view before he broke the glass. He had made things worse. That was the story of his life now. Not before, but now. Before the broken panes, before the locked door, before the rust set in. He had broken many panes, front and back. They gave the house a permanent breeze, A stirring wind, rain drove in, leaves blew in, insects too. The last time he dared to look, dared to try, it was worse. The wall stained, the paint peeling, the wallpaper drooping, the hanging light in the vestibule began to swing until it swung too many times and broke free. It smashed on the decorated tile floor, cracking four of the imported ones, expensive ones, older than him, older than the town, a decorative pleasure of his wife, when extravagant was a word they didn't fully understand. He knew how it looked inside, broken panes or not. He knew what he saw, but that was there, not here, not at the heavy door. The door was the key, and if he had a key, he could open it. His former life would still be there. He knew it would still be there, because it was not here with him. So it had to exist somewhere. It had to. He had called to God, and to gods, and to angels, devils and demons, and the Dark One himself, making promises he intended to keep, but knew he never could, offering oaths and begging pity. He never heard a word, never a sound, except the breeze on the other side of the door, the heavy door, the immovable door, the door to his life, the door to the past, where he had never a care, or even the slightest concern, a privileged life. On the other side of the door, his wife was still his wife, his children still listened and talked to him, and his friends still took his calls. When he still had his mistress's number and her welcoming address, where he was allowed. He slid down, forehead and fist pressed to the door, sliding slowly, skin resisting. He slid all the way down, still resting fist and head against the wood, whispering pleas for it to open, to let him in. Deep inside he knew it was not his house anymore, not his door. He had been dispossessed from his house, his wife, his children, his friends, and from the life he once had, the life he thought he would have forever. The house sat empty, never selling, untended, uncared for, falling slowly to the ground, always for sale, and no one buying it. No one wanted it, as no one wanted him. And in this alone, one could say they were together, the house, the door, and him.